Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here. If this is your first time visiting, you're very welcome, and if you're already part of our amazing community, thank you so much for coming back. On this channel, we share inspiring stories, meaningful lessons, and exciting content that you can enjoy while learning something new. So, make yourself comfortable, stay with us until the end, and if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever we upload something new. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get right into today's video. Have you ever built a future in your heart, only to discover that you were never part of the picture? Have you ever taken someone's kindness, attention, and affection, and quietly turned them into a promise they never made? This is the story of how I mistook kindness for love, and how that mistake broke my heart, but eventually healed my mind. After my first year at university, I returned home to spend my 3-month holiday with my parents. I was tired. The academic year had been stressful, and honestly, I was looking forward to doing absolutely nothing for a while. No early morning lectures. No assignments. No rushing across campus. No staying up late trying to understand something the lecturer had explained in 5 minutes. I just wanted to rest. Spend time with my parents. Visit old friends. Attend church. And enjoy being home again. During that holiday, I was invited to a church that had postponed its Youth Day celebration. I had never attended that particular church before, but I decided to go. That Sunday morning, I arrived early. The church was already beginning to fill up. Young people were moving around, arranging chairs, greeting one another, and preparing for the service. I found a seat and settled down. After Sunday school, something happened that I didn't think would become the beginning of one of the biggest emotional lessons of my life. A young man walked up to me. He had a warm smile. "Good morning, sister." I looked up. He was tall, fair, well-built, and had a neatly trimmed beard. And honestly, he was handsome. I smiled politely. "Good morning." But deep inside, another thought crossed my mind. I'm sure many girls are already chasing this guy. I didn't know his name yet. I didn't know his story. I didn't know his intentions. But somehow, my mind had already noticed him. His name was Johnson. At that moment, I had no idea how important that name would become in my life. During worship, I tried to concentrate. The music was beautiful. People were singing. Hands were raised. But my mind kept wandering. I found myself wondering where Johnson was. Then, almost as if my thoughts had called him, I turned around. Our eyes met. I quickly looked away. Then I realized something. He was the keyboardist. I smiled to myself. Okay. There was something about the way he played. He wasn't just playing the keyboard. He seemed completely absorbed in the worship. And that made him even more attractive to me. After worship, the service continued. Then, later, the youth president stepped onto the pulpit. It was him. Johnson. He preached with confidence. His message was simple but powerful. He spoke about purpose. About living for God. About making wise decisions. About not allowing emotions to control our lives. I remember thinking, this man is different. After the service, I waited for an opportunity to thank him. When I finally saw him, I approached him. "Thank you for the message." He smiled. "You're welcome." We spoke for a few minutes. Then he asked, "Do you mind if I have your phone number?" I paused for just a moment. Then I gave it to him. At the time, it felt like a completely harmless thing. Just a phone number. Nothing more. I went home that afternoon and continued with my normal activities. But that evening, my phone buzzed. I looked at the screen. It was a message from Johnson. "Hello, beautiful. This is Johnson." My heart skipped a beat. I smiled. I read the message again. Then I replied. "Hello, Johnson." That simple conversation became a long conversation. We talked for hours. We talked about our families, our childhoods, our dreams, our likes, our dislikes, our experiences at school, our plans for the future. He asked questions about me, and he seemed genuinely interested in my answers. I remember thinking, wow, this man actually listens. The next morning, another message came. "Good morning, sunshine." I smiled. The following day. "Good morning, sweetheart." Then another day. "How did you sleep?" Soon, these messages became part of my daily routine. Every morning, I expected to see his name on my phone. And whenever his message came, my mood changed. I started looking forward to talking to him. Sometimes we would chat for hours. Other times, he would call just to hear my voice. He remembered little things I told him. If I mentioned that I had an appointment, he would ask how it went. If I said I wasn't feeling happy, he would check on me. If I was excited about something, he wanted to hear all about it. It felt special. And slowly, without realizing it, my heart became attached. There was just one problem. I already had a boyfriend. His name was Fred. Fred and I had been together before I met Johnson. But now, something had changed. I started comparing them. Johnson seemed more attentive. Johnson communicated more often. Johnson made me feel noticed. Fred would call, and sometimes I wouldn't answer. He would send messages, and I would leave them unread. If he asked why I wasn't responding, I would say, "I'm busy." Sometimes I wasn't busy. I just didn't feel like talking to him. My mind was occupied by someone else. Johnson. And the strange thing was, Johnson had never actually told me that he loved me. He had never asked me to be his girlfriend. He had never said, "I want a relationship with you." He had never promised me marriage. He had never said, "I see you in my future." But I filled in all those blanks myself. I interpreted his kindness as romantic interest. His attention became evidence. His sweet names became confirmation. His calls became proof. And because I wanted it to be true, I never stopped to ask whether it actually was. Deep inside, I told myself, a man who speaks to me like this must surely have feelings for me. That was my assumption. And assumptions can be dangerous when emotions are involved. Then came Wednesday. Johnson called me. After a few minutes of conversation, he said, "Are you free on Friday?" "Friday?" "Yes. I'd like us to meet at the mall." My heart jumped. Of course. After the call ended, I couldn't stop smiling. I thought, finally. I convinced myself that Friday was going to be the day he confessed his feelings. Maybe he would tell me he loved me. Maybe he would ask me to be his girlfriend. Maybe this was the beginning of something serious. I didn't know. But I was excited. I started preparing. I bought a new dress. I bought new shoes. I spent more time than usual deciding what to wear. I stood in front of the mirror and imagined how I would look when he saw me. That night, my imagination went even further. I began imagining conversations that had never happened. I imagined Johnson telling me how much he cared about me. I imagined us becoming a couple. I imagined introducing him to my parents. I imagined our families meeting. I imagined marriage. I imagined our home. Our children. Our future. It was amazing. Except for one small detail. None of it had been promised. I had built an entire future. Using nothing but assumptions. Friday finally came. I got dressed. I looked at myself in the mirror and smiled. I was nervous. But I was happy. I went to the mall. And eventually, I saw Johnson. He smiled when he saw me. Hey. Hi. He came closer and hugged me. That hug made my heart race. I thought, this is it. We talked for a little while. Then Johnson looked around. And suddenly, a young woman walked toward us. She was smiling. Johnson turned to me. Oh, I want you to meet someone. I smiled. Okay. He looked at the young woman. Then back at me. This is my fiancé. My smile disappeared. For a moment. I didn't understand what I had just heard. Your fiancé? He smiled. Yes. Then he casually explained that their wedding was only 2 weeks away. 2 weeks. I stood there trying to process everything. The messages. The phone calls. The sweet names. The late-night conversations. The attention. The way he always checked on me. All of it suddenly looked different. I looked at the woman standing beside him. She was happy. She had no idea what was happening inside my heart. And why would she? As far as she knew, I was simply Johnson's friend. A good friend. That's all. I smiled. At least, I tried to. I congratulated them. I said the right things. I behaved like everything was fine. But inside, I was breaking. On my way home, I replayed the entire situation in my mind. How could I have misunderstood everything? Why did he call me sunshine? Why did he call me sweetheart? Why did he talk to me every day? Why did he ask about my life? Why did he want to meet me? Then another question came. Why didn't I ask? Why didn't I simply say, Johnson, what exactly do you want from this relationship? Why had I assumed? That night, I cried. Not only because Johnson was getting married. I cried because I realized that the future I had been mourning had never actually existed. I wasn't losing a relationship. I was losing an imaginary relationship I had created in my mind. And that realization hurt even more. For days, I kept thinking about it. I felt embarrassed. I felt foolish. I even blamed myself. But eventually, I understood something important. I wasn't foolish because someone was kind to me. I became foolish when I turned kindness into a promise without asking what it meant. Johnson may have been friendly. He may have genuinely cared about me as a friend. But I had attached a meaning to his actions that he had never given them. And that taught me one of the most important lessons of my life. Kindness is not commitment. Attention is not intention. Sweet words are not always a declaration of love. And spending time with someone does not automatically mean they want a future with you. Sometimes, we don't fall in love with a person. We fall in love with the version of the person we have created in our imagination. And that's dangerous. Because when reality finally appears, it can destroy the fantasy we built. I also learned something else. Never be afraid to ask honest questions. If you're unsure about someone's intentions, ask. Don't build an emotional relationship around assumptions. Don't plan a wedding because someone sends you good morning messages. Don't call someone your future spouse because they are kind to you. And don't ignore the relationship you already have because someone else makes you feel temporarily special. Be honest. Be clear. Be wise. If someone genuinely wants to be with you, clarity should not scare them away. And if you ask an honest question and discover that they don't feel the same way, it may hurt. But it is better to experience a painful truth early than to build a beautiful fantasy that reality will eventually destroy. That experience didn't make me foolish. It made me wiser. It taught me to protect my heart without closing it. It taught me to appreciate kindness without automatically turning it into romance. And most importantly, it taught me that love should not constantly leave you guessing. When someone truly loves you, you shouldn't have to create clues. You shouldn't have to decode every message. You shouldn't have to analyze every smile. You shouldn't have to wonder what a nickname means. You shouldn't have to build a future from assumptions. Healthy love brings clarity. So if you're listening to this and you're currently wondering, does this person really love me? Don't spend months building answers inside your head. Ask. Have the conversation. Seek clarity. And whatever the answer is, respect it. Because sometimes, the person you thought was your future was actually the person God used to teach you how to recognize what you deserve. I once thought Johnson had broken my heart. But looking back, he didn't. My assumptions did. And thankfully, those same assumptions taught me a lesson I would never forget. Never mistake kindness for love. Never mistake attention for commitment. Never mistake sweet words for a promise. And never build a future with someone who has never invited you into theirs. Because when someone truly loves you, you won't have to keep guessing. So if you're listening to this and you're currently wondering, does this person really love me? Don't spend months building answers inside your head. Ask. Have the conversation. Seek clarity. And whatever the answer is, respect it. Because sometimes, the person you thought was your future was actually the person God used to teach you how to recognize what you deserve. I once thought Johnson had broken my heart. But looking back, he didn't. My assumptions did. And thankfully, those same assumptions taught me a lesson I would never forget. Never mistake kindness for love. Never mistake attention for commitment. Never mistake sweet words for a promise. And never build a future with someone who has never invited you into theirs. Because when someone truly loves you, you won't have to keep guessing. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something valuable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.